in the past, our needs were reasonable. They were basic. They were justifiable. Yeah, we need to eat, we need to drink, we need a house, we need stability, we need security. All very reasonable. But still, it's our existence, not what life is about. So, in the past, if you did a few good things, if you made yourself useful, if you provided for your family, you were balanced. You were balanced between your neediness and what you are needed for. Between your me monster and your social contribution. So the problem was moderate. The solution was moderate. If you're a moderately useful human being, you have balanced yourself because you're also moderately greedy, selfish, whatever. It seems like today we are suffering from a condition that is much more serious than selfish. What's more serious than selfish? Narcissism. See, a selfish person will do whatever it takes to stay alive and healthy and happy. Not a narcissist. A narcissist is so stuck on their whim, on their pleasure, on their mood, that even if they have to do something to save their own life, but it will interrupt or interfere with their little pleasure, they won't do it. They can't do it. They would rather go down and die than give up the pleasure they're experiencing. That's the definition of narcissism. In Greek mythology, Narcissus saw a reflection of himself in the water. He had never seen himself before, and he was so enamored with himself, he couldn't tear himself away. So he sat there until he starved to death. But he would not go eat because he was too trapped in the pleasure of looking at himself. That's not selfish. That's pathological. Today we suffer from a very widespread plague of narcissism. I'd rather take the drug and feel good for a few minutes than stay alive. So you say to teenagers, don't mess around with the drugs because it might kill you, and they don't get it. So it's not selfish or indulgent, it's narcissistic. Now, if it's that extreme, if the me has become so precious that I can't even save my own life, if it means giving up a pleasure, then the antidote has to be more extreme too. What is the antidote to narcissism? Here, if you're moderately productive or moderately useful, it's not strong enough. You can't fight an extreme with a moderate response. So the antidote, the solution to narcissism is altruism. Now, not long ago, let's say 30, 40 years ago, there was this hot debate among experts. Is a human being capable of altruism? Can a human being do something without any selfish motivation? If there's nothing in it for him, can a person do something just because it's meant it's the right thing to do and it's what he's meant to do. Most people agreed that altruism is just it's just a word, but it's not real. No, you cannot get up from your chair unless there's something in it for you. That's just the way human beings are. That debate is over. Not only are human beings capable of being altruistic, it's the only way to be. Because as soon as we stop being altruistic, we're headed for narcissism. It might take a few generations, but the me monster will turn into narcissism. So we complained, right? A generation ago, what? A generation these days is 10 years. 10 years ago, we were complaining that children feel entitled and it's so permissive and they think they deserve everything and that they have to get everything and they're so selfish. It's beyond that now. Now it's narcissistic. So the new reality, the new world that we're entering is a world of altruism. If we're going to ask the question, why am I here if I didn't ask to be born? What's the answer going to be? The answer is going to have to be, you didn't ask to be born because you don't need to be born. Why then were you born? Because the Creator needs you. Now, if you're going to do what the Creator needs, you're altruistic. Because you don't need it. Now you can say, well, I don't need it, but I need the reward. He's going to reward me. No, I don't need the reward. I don't need any. If I didn't ask to be born, I don't need a bigger house. I don't need more money. I don't need more fame. I don't need more love. I don't need anything. So what's the reward going to be? Not money, not fame, not what? There is no reward that I need. And that's why the sages say, don't serve God for the sake of a reward. We used to treat it like a command. Don't do that. Now we understand. It's not don't do that. It's not true. You don't need a reward. Because you don't need anything. If you don't need anything and you do what God asks, that's altruism. We are here to serve God. We always knew that, but we had no idea how intense and how deep that went. We always treated it like an obligation. You know, God created the world, he's the boss. You don't listen to him, you ain't going to get the goodies. So it set up a friction between the human instinct and God's commandments. And it all felt so unnatural. I need to eat, God tells me to fast? What is this? Well, he's the boss. Okay, I'll fast. But I don't want to. So God and I are on very different pages. And at some point, I'll say, okay, I'll fast 1 day a year. No, but then there's Tisha B'Av. Oh, okay, 2 days a year. All right. Yeah, but then there's also Shiva Sabbatama. Hey, come on. You're pushing it too far. You're crossing a red line over here. You don't let me marry who I want. You don't let me have sex the way I want. You don't let me take things if they're not mine. Will you stop bugging me? Let me live. You're interfering with my life. That's how we once felt about it. So if you were religious, you were really sacrificing so much. You were living an austere life. You weren't having any fun. And that's where we get this impression. If you become religious, you never smile again. That's the end of your happiness. Now we realize God wasn't demanding anything. He was simply giving us a clue to the future. It'll take a few years, but you're all going to realize that you didn't ask to be born. You don't need anything. So I'm telling you in advance. Don't get so needy because you don't need it. I need you. So here's what I need you to do. Am I asking you to sacrifice? No. Am I interfering with your life? No. I'm giving you a life with a purpose, which you don't need. What is there to be unhappy about? Life's great. Life's meaningful. The degree of meaning that I find in my life is commensurate to the degree that I realize that I don't need. The more I understand that I don't need, the happier I become. And it's a real happiness, indestructible. This is the future. This is how we get ready for Mashiach. Like, what's going to happen when Mashiach comes? Oh, everything will become perfect. Everyone will be so good. Everyone, why? How? What are you talking about? Some miracle? We're all of a sudden going to be transformed into angels? What are we looking forward to? Now we see it so clearly. We don't want to become angels, and we don't need to. We can be better than angels. Angels have needs. We don't. So how will Mashiach come? We will simply mature. Okay, so it took 5,000 years. But we have matured to the point where you can't threaten people anymore. This is so amazing, so impressive. You can't threaten people. Say, oh, you do that, you're going to die. So? This is not suicidal, and it's not depressed. It's liberated. Don't tell me that I have to work hard in order to live so that I don't die. That makes no sense whatsoever. That's circular reasoning. You got to live. Why? Because otherwise you'll die. Yeah. That's profound. We are really geared to be altruistic. Not by becoming angels, just by realizing who we are. We are not the needy ones. We are the needed ones. What does chosen mean, by the way? You're the chosen people? What does that mean? It means it's not your choice, right? Chosen means someone chose you. You didn't choose anything. It's such a relief. This is an amazing and positive development it's just beginning to surface, but but you hear it everywhere. Children everywhere are saying, I didn't ask to be born. And they're not saying it because they're depressed. They're saying it because they're smart. I was reading a lot in the past 40 years. I was reading a lot about alternative medicine, real healing, not just surgery and implants, but actually getting people healthier and without going on special diets, because if you're healthy, you can eat. I came across this philosophy of health, which is an amazing, amazing thing. Let me ask you a simple question. How would you describe or define a healthy person? Who's healthy? There is no definition. Nobody knows. Nobody. The medical world will tell you if nothing hurts and nothing is malfunctioning, then you're healthy. So first of all, that's a description of what you're not. It's not describing healthy, it's describing the absence of symptoms. Now, the absence of symptoms is not always healthy. A dead body has no symptoms. Nothing hurts, there's no fever, there's no cough. Yeah, but he's dead. Now, guy hasn't complained for weeks. Oh, yeah. He passed away. So not having symptoms is not a definition of health. Then what is? So imagine you call a doctor. Now you're the doctor, and you get a phone call, and the guy says, Doctor, my left leg won't move. I can't walk. As a doctor, you should ask, and where do you need to go? If the guy says, actually, I got no place to go. I don't need to go anywhere. Then you're fine. Bye. No problem. A guy calls up and says, I can't hear out of one of my ears. What do you need to hear? Actually, nothing. Okay, then fine. Then what's the problem? You have no place to go and your legs won't take you there. That's perfect. There's nothing to hear and your ear doesn't hear it. That's great. So I came across this amazing, amazing one sentence description of health. And you'll see, it's an amazing statement. Listen to this. The healthy individual is the one whose body is balanced so that it doesn't interfere with the mind from using its intelligence to pursue the purpose for which we exist. The healthy individual is one whose body is balanced so it doesn't distract or interfere with the mind from using its intelligence to pursue the purpose for which we exist. In other words, a healthy individual is someone who can pursue the purpose of life without distraction. That's an amazing statement. It says everything. So imagine a person whose legs don't work, God forbid, but he wakes up in the morning and he is enthusiastic because he sees the purpose of his life He knows what he's waking up for, and he goes about it enthusiastically. The reason we wake up in the morning is because we have an appointment with our Creator. He needs us somewhere. He needs us to do something. He needs us to make this world a dwelling place for him, because he wants to be part of our life, not take us to heaven and make us a part of his life. That's why we're here. So it makes perfect sense. Do all your activities for the sake of heaven, because it is for the sake of heaven. You have no other reason to do it. You have no other reason to eat, to drink, to sleep. You have no reason. God created you this way for his reason. He needs you to eat. He needs you to drink. He needs you to make fire to keep warm and make air conditioning to keep cool. He needs all of that. And so he designed you accordingly. So if you're going to eat, do it because he designed you that way. It's the only real reason. Why would you twist it and make it your need when it's really his need? So we make a blessing in the morning, for example. Thank you, God, King of the universe, for giving all necessities to your creatures, providing all the necessities. See, it's not, I need to eat. Can you help me out? No, it's thank you for providing the food, not I need. You created the system and you run the system, and I'm thanking you for it. That's what blessings are all about. Thank you for making bread come out of the earth, not please make bread come out of the earth, because I don't need it. Is this mind-blowing or what? This changes everything. According to this thinking, why would anyone ever be in a bad mood? Hasidim say, on Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, don't ask God for what you need. Bless God that he should be successful in achieving what he needs. Like, you need the world to become more godly. I wish you success. I hope everyone realizes this and serves you with their whole heart, because that's really what it's all about. We are praying not to God, we are praying for him. Is that insane? Is that like totally crazy? May the world be filled with the knowledge of you. Who are we praying for? And if that's the case, what have I got to be upset about? And if I'm upset because I see other people suffering, whoa, That's how we should feel when we see other people suffering. That's correct. That's right. That's what we're supposed to feel. Again, it's not personal. It's correct. It's like a mother asked me, she lost her child. And she says, "Can you help me get over it?" Get over it? How narcissistic can you get? Your child passes away and you're worried about how you get over it? Who says you should get over it? As we were talking about last time. Regret? Yeah, forever. You never get over your regret. You did something wrong and it caused harm. You regret it. Well, I got to get over that. No, you don't. You don't get over it. You get over the guilt part. So when there's a tragedy for other people in their lives and you want to get over it, you want to get an amazing thing. Elie Wiesel, who wrote about the Holocaust, who survived the Holocaust, people were constantly asking him why. Why? Why was there a Holocaust? As if he's supposed to know, because he was there. So, of course, he simply shrugged off the question, like, what do you want from me? But one time, he came up with this brilliant, brilliant insight. A guy came to him and said, so why? Why? And Wiesel said, I'm sorry, but I can't tell you the answer. The guy says, you know the answer, but you can't tell me? He says, that's right. He says, well, why can't you tell me? He says, because if I tell you, you will become a Nazi. And the guy says, what are you talking about? I'm Jewish. Why would I become a Nazi? Listen to this. He said, you're complaining that you can't sleep well at night because this question is disturbing you. Why? Why would 6 million people be murdered for no reason at all? Why? Why? Well, I know why, and I will tell you why. And then you're going to say, oh, so that's why. Okay, I can sleep now. See, you've become a Nazi. In other words, what are you asking? You're saying it really disturbs you that people got killed, and you want to get over it. So you want me to explain to you why there was a Holocaust so that you can sleep well at night. Only a Nazi can sleep well at night when 6 million people were murdered by their own hand. So really, do you want an answer? If I gave you a good answer, would you be content to have 6 million people murdered? No, you never get over that. So if you're suffering because other people are in pain, well, that's wonderful. That's exactly what you should be feeling. That's not part of the me monster. That's not part of your existence. That's living. That's being alive. Feeling other people's losses, that's amazing. One final thought on the subject. In many ways, we are encouraged to imitate God. Just as he is forgiving, you should be forgiving. As he is kind, you should be kind. He feeds the poor, you should feed the poor. So on. One of the ways in which we imitate God is by being altruistic. Does God have a selfish reason for creating the world? What reason could he possibly have? He's already perfect. One of the ways of describing God is he's altruistic. He creates an entire universe, gives us a Torah, leads us through history, and he gets nothing from it. Nothing. Nothing but complaints. So if you're going to imitate God, be altruistic the way he is altruistic. He created the world because he wants us in his world. We serve him because we want him in our world. No reward, no personal benefits. He just can't be without us. We can't be without him. And what will we gain? Him. What does he gain? Us. In a marriage, what do you want from your spouse? From my spouse? No. I want my spouse. When your husband is out of town, you miss him. Well, what do you miss about him? Oh, taking out the garbage. No, come on. You miss him because he is not here. Yeah, but what is he good for? The funny thing is, as soon as he comes in, as soon as he returns from his trip, the minute he walks in the door, it's about something. But when you miss someone, when you long for someone, it's not about anything. There's no personal benefit. Okay, what do you think of all this? Angels can't imagine not existing. Their existence is like necessary. No angel ever says, I didn't ask to be created. They can't transcend their own existence. And that's why God can't give them the Torah. That's why they don't have free choice. They can't. They can't get past the fact that they exist. Of course, they know God created them and they're totally obedient, but they can't imagine not existing. And that's why they can't understand God, because God was not created. They can't relate to that. What do you mean not created? Everything has a creator. We, on the other hand, don't care whether we exist or not. And we think we're God. So when God comes and says, no, I'm God. I say, oh, okay. Mistaken identity. But we can understand what it means to not have a creator. Because sometimes we feel like we don't have a creator. There's no evidence that something created us. There's no evidence. An angel can't say that. He has evidence. Right? I think it's in Nila, in the most intense prayer. Merubim tzarchei amcha. What's the end of the sentence? V'dahatom ktsara. And their wisdom is limited. The simple meaning is we have so many needs and we don't know how to get them fulfilled. The Hasidic insight is we have so many needs because we have limited intelligence. If we were a little more intelligent, we'd realize we don't need. And that's where the emphasis is on merubim tzarchei amcha. There are too many. Not harbe, merubim. They just keep increasing. We don't need this. So with a little wisdom, we would realize, no, we don't need it. We don't have many needs. We have one. Tell me what you need from me. She'osali kol tsarki is actually, in the morning when we say that, it's actually a blessing over shoes. On the day that we don't wear shoes, like on Tisha B'Av, we don't say that blessing. So literally, we're thanking God for shoes. Isn't that a little strange? Well, considering our history, for most of our history, we didn't have shoes. We were shoeless. It was a luxury to have shoes. So we describe it as, you give me everything I need, even shoes. The other way of understanding it is exactly what we're saying. She'osali kol tzarki, you created all my needs. They're not mine. And also in Ashrei, Peseach es yodecha, umasbia lechol chayratzin. You satiate everyone with will. Not you give them whatever they want. You give them will. And what is our will? To serve him. To know our purpose. To fulfill our purpose. So, of course, in everything there is the literal meaning for like beginners. And then as you grow, it dawns on you that there's more and more and more, and it's deeper and more profound and more holy. And, it would be nice. I would be very impressed if someone was so upset by the suffering of others that he can't function. How great would that be? People say, I don't believe in God anymore. I can't stand all this suffering that's going on. What are we having for lunch? Wait a minute. You can't stand. You can't. You're suffering. You're miserable. That doesn't mean you're going to miss lunch. I'm not that upset, okay? But I haven't heard anyone who has missed lunch because he was upset about the Holocaust. They missed davening, yeah, not lunch. Now, it would be nice if we really, really hurt for others. Can it go too far? I suppose it could, but we haven't gotten there yet. Still got a long way to go before we're that empathetic.